Hello, everybody. Welcome to another video from the Power Bomb Project. I am one of your hosts, Daniel, joined by my other two hosts.
It's Griffin.
Hey, Chris.
And today we are talking about New Japan Pro Wrestling Wrestle Kingdom 12. Retro review, of course. So, of course, Wrestle Kingdom 12 happened in 2018, and it was headlined by two major matches, Okada versus Naito for the world title. And that was more like the big match for the Japanese fans. But for the American fans, the match that people were hyped up for was Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho, no DQ for the US title. And even then, it had a promising undercard with an IC title match featuring a newcomer in Jay White, and even had a huge fatal four-way that is critically acclaimed to this day for the Junior Heavyweight Championship. And there are many more matches we have to talk about here. So, me personally, this is probably my absolute favorite Wrestle Kingdom. I think it's an amazing show. And yeah, that's just the general thoughts. We'll talk more about these matches. But what did you two think about this show?
I really liked it. It was very fun. I really loved the main event. The two co-main events, or main event co and main event co. The Kotobushi match and Cody, and probably my favorite match is the junior heavyweight. That's probably my favorite one because of how much it was so much fun. But off the bat, it was definitely my top five best New Japan wrestling Wrestle Kingdom.
And yeah, like you guys said before, it was an overall very good show just due to the fact there wasn't that many misses. I thoroughly enjoyed this pay-per-view, so can't wait to talk about it later down the review.
All right, now let's get into the very first match. So, ironically, the English commentary on this show is Don Callis and Kevin Kelly, who are both a part of AEW nowadays. And the opener was for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships. It was the Young Bucks going up there and challenging the champions, Roppongi 3K, who were Sho and Yo. Overall, I thought this was a very good and fast-paced opener to kick off the show. And, you just had a lot of crazy action. The Young Bucks get the dub to become the new Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions. And if I'm not mistaken, the Young Bucks hold the record for the most amount of title reigns with the Junior Heavyweight Tag titles. So, yeah, this was another victory to contribute to that record. And, yeah, overall, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. Sho and Yo, despite losing, were able to put on a good effort and entertaining performance as well.
Yeah, I have a lot of fun with this match. I was interested because I actually was a big fan of Roppongi 3K when they came in, and when they were doing tag team stuff. So I was having a lot of fun watching them, and then seeing the Young Bucks there was interesting. The only thing I'm going to do this is more a rant. The Sho and Yo, the Roppongi is it's non-existent anymore. Sho is with Chaos, Yo is with House of Torture, and it pissed me off a lot because first thing first, Yo, I was thinking, oh, he's gonna be so much fun to see in House of Torture. Now he's just a bitch. Perfectly honest, I don't like him. He pisses me off every time I try watching him. I loved him when he was in Roppongi. Now he's just a complete coward. He just looks fun. Sho, probably one of the best junior heavyweights on that in the company, in the company. But the match was still fun. I really liked it, even though this whole thing. I just thinking to what's happened with Roppongi now than back then. But I would say definitely 7.5 for me. I really like this match too.
Yeah, and then I think what I really enjoyed the match was just for the fact that the Young Bucks weren't entirely dominating. Roppongi 3K was pretty much dominating the entire time of this match, which was really cool to see. And as a first time seeing these two guys, it was kind of neat seeing them, but kind of bad what you said before, Berman. Like they didn't really go much after this, so it was a good match, good opener. So I'll give it an 8 out of 10.
Now we move on to match number 2, the 5 Trios Gauntlet for the Never Openweight 6-Man Tag Team Championships, which is basically their Trios Championships. We got Bullet Club versus Michael Elgin and War Machine versus Suzuki Gun versus Chaos versus Taguchi Juice. Yeah, I read that right. Okay, so this had some high moments, but also quite some low moments because 2 out of these 4 or 5 rounds were basically squash matches, and they went by very quick. And then Michael Elgin, I'm just only going to mention this once. There's a reason he's not in the wrestling business anymore, or not really like out there anymore. Yeah, sad stories, sad truths came out about the guy. But I was a fan of Michael Elgin at one point, and damn, it's just a shame to see. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that real quick. And then, of course, you have some interesting names here, like Tamatonga and Tongaloy, Taichi, Trent Beretta, Tomohiro Ishii, and then yeah, ironically, Juice Robinson fighting against the Bullet Club, even though he's in Bullet Club Gold these days. Very interesting how all these things have happened since the match. So yeah, I thought it was harmless. Thought it was solid. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I felt like, if anything, the pacing was solid, but it could have been better.
Yeah, I agree with the match, and with just talking like few brief seconds, I was a pretty good fan of the Micah Elgin. He was in Impact for a very long time until this whole thing happened in real life that was made him very bad. But a thing that made me happy to see, and it pissed me off what WWE does with them, and that is War Machine. If you don't know who's War Machine are Viking Raiders who are in Raw right now. It pissed me off how they kind of feel like to me they disrespect them. I don't like them. I love them in NXT, but I think New Japan Pro Wrestling were their bread and butter for them. I think they had so much better action here than they were in WWE right now. Small rant, I just like War Machine better than the Viking Raiders. So for the match, I liked it. It was actually very fun. It was good pacing. It's very harmless too. It just shows everything about it. So it was not that bad. It was good fun. I give this a 7 for me.
And yeah, it wasn't too harmful. It was just a bit confusing because when I was watching, it wasn't English. Commentary was just Japanese, but that's more on me. But it was a bit weird seeing that the first trios teams, or I'm sorry, the first 2 matches were kind of just squashes, and then I thought I was like, okay, that's it. But I guess they do the tournaments a little different in New Japan because it just felt like it was all at once, and it was a bit overcrowded. So for what it was, I didn't really care for it, to be honest. I thought it was kind of average, even for the finisher. So I'll just give it a 5 out of 10.
Now we move on to match number 3. Kenny Omega versus, not Kenny Omega, Jesus Christ.
Not yet.
Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes versus Kota Ibushi, the other Golden Lover. So here's what I'll say. This match only was 15 minutes. And yeah, they basically made every single minute useful. And the crossroads to the outside still might be one of the best spots of Cody Rhodes' career. I'm gonna be flat out honest when I say that. That I love that outside crossroads. And then, of course, 2016 to 2019 Cody was like Bullet Club heel Cody. And I'm gonna be honest, that's pretty much my favorite version of Cody. So just seeing Cody just being like an absolute desperate heel, trying to do everything in his power to beat Kota. Then you even have his wife as well, being a bit involved. I just thought it was an awesome match. And yeah, this is Kota arguably at his best and Cody arguably at his best. So what you got here was an awesome match. Overall, I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10. And Kota did get the W, and it makes sense as to why.
Yeah, I had a lot of. This was a very fun match. When I watched it, I had so much fun. The Brandy Rhodes spot was probably my favorite thing, where they as a Brandy Rose faked that she got hit by Kota. Then Kota was trying to be a gentleman, carry her. Cody just freaking blindsided him, and then just Brandy Rhodes just got up like nothing, like saying like, and she's just laughing because she's trying to trick her. It was very. I like that spot a lot. The Crossroads was definitely another spot. This match was great. It had so many great spots, some interesting. and there's nothing bad really about this match. It was so much fun. So definitely 9 for me.
And also too, it's very funny seeing that just Cody just being his heel stuff. I mean, I know it was sort of familiar from like other YouTube videos or whatever, but just seeing it kind of live once again kind of brought out like good memories of Cody Rhodes. Just his heelish things. Even Brandy added a lot to this match, and you guys said it what it needed to be said, so it's really fun. So I'll give it a 9 out of 10 as well.
Now we move on to the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Championship match. We got Killer Elite Squad, which was Lance Archer and Davey Boy Smith Jr. versus LIJ, which is Evil and Sonata. So this is an interesting case here. And why do I say that? Well, when you look at Killer Elite Squad, especially Lance Archer today, this tag team doesn't really feel like it even ever existed, as fucked up as that may sound. And yeah, then you got LIJ, Evil and Sonata, who were a tag team for quite a long time. And they got a win here. They became the new heavyweight tag team champions. The match was good. It wasn't anything excellent or anything, but it was good. And yeah, obviously this is Sonata in beta mode before he became a Chad, as mentioned in previous videos. So overall, I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. It was always interesting to see the Evil and Sonata look different because how he looks right now. But this was a very fun match. It was interesting that Kill Elite Squad were very looked like a squash match for the whole entire match, and then like the last 10 to let's like 5 to 10 minutes of the match, it was just Evil and Sonata trying to damn this to actually win, and they won by the Magic Killer. So I really liked it. The match was very fun. It was pretty good. It was pretty fun. So I give it a 7 too.
And again, this is just one of those matches I just wasn't feeling it. I mean, to be fair, I don't really. I mean, I thought Lance Archer was cool at the beginning of it, but like you guys said, it was just mostly a squash, and Evil's kind of mid. And so now it was cool seeing, but overall, I it's just so average, dude. Because like literally, I think it was only like 10 minutes long with
It
entrances and
was
stuff.
so basically, with every match I have listed here,
Mhm.
I have the time listed. It went 14 minutes and 14 seconds.
Gotcha. So, with that being said, it was just short and simple. I probably seen this like 1,000 times in like other weights, even though I know it's for the tag team heavyweight, but for what it was, I didn't really enjoy it. That was kind of mid. So I'll just give it a 5 out of 10.
All right.
Mid.
Next up, we got the hair versus hair death match. Never open weight championship match. Minoru Suzuki versus Hiroki Goto. Now, this is what I'll say. I think if you're looking at this match expecting death match stuff, you're going to be very disappointed. But what you do get here is a match that feels like an absolute fight. And I honestly love this fight. And yeah, I feel like you could have just literally not called this a death match and it would have, it would have just been right as an ordinary match. And surprisingly, Goto beat Suzuki, and Suzuki had to go bald on an already bald head. So overall, I'm going to give this joint an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, this was really fun. One thing that just makes no sense because that Minoru Suzuki already had a bald head. He only had like a nice rat tail of a freaking head of hair. So it makes no sense for a hair to hair match. But still, it was actually a very fun fight. Not a match even, it was a fight. I really had a lot of fun with it too. So I am happy. It was just very cool. I had a lot of fun watching it. So I definitely give this an 8.
And yeah, it's an 8 too, but it's kind of funny because I know I said this earlier, but Minoru Suzuki was already balding at this point and he just barely had any red hair, so that was kind of a giveaway of who was actually get their thing shaved. But Minoru Suzuki and, I'm just going to say Goto. I can't pronounce his first name. But it was an actually matchup. I don't know if they ever had like a death match before, but if that does exist, I'd like to see it because this was like an excellent demonstration of both of these athletes just going crazy on each other. And Minoru Suzuki wasn't even that old, right? He was like in his late 40s. during this match, or was it like early 30s? I can't
Well,
tell.
Suzuki is 100 years old.
No, he's
So
not.
this happened
No,
five.
he's not.
This happened 5 years ago. No, wait, no. So this happened like 5 years ago. So he was 95.
Are you serious?
No,
Are you?
no. He was 50 when this match happened. He's
Okay.
55 currently.
What happened to his hair?
Man, bald.
Maybe I'm just asking the wrong questions, man.
Man went balding.
All right,
Yeah,
thank you, Daniel.
very interesting. So yeah, do you like the match?
Yeah, I liked it. Just
All
just
right,
a
hell
little
yeah.
giveaway. There you go.
All right, what do you rate this
Not
joint?
gonna sound fucking stupid. It's like he was 100. Wait. But I'm giving it 8. I'm with you guys. It's fun.
All right. Now, you know what, Chris? I'll let you talk
I'm
about
not.
this next match.
I'm not gonna talk about this, even though I really enjoyed it. But I keep forgetting what Martin Shkreli does, and every time I forget, I'm like, oh, you know what? This guy's gonna go somewhere. But then 10 minutes later, when I text you after this match, you immediately tell me, oh wait, that's right. This guy's a menace. But outside of
No
that,
way.
it
You
was
you you texted me that. You were the one that was like,
oh
"Oh wait, that's right. This guy's a menace."
well, I'm sorry he didn't have his umbrella with him this time, so I didn't know it was him. He just looked like
I kind of was dirty though whenever I told you about him being a pedo after the Okada match. So you were basically watching the Okada match and didn't even know. So that's even better.
well, he's a bad person, but god damn it, this is a good match. And then I think Will Ospreay was like the craziest thing because of him doing that. Was it a swanton off of like the 30-foot pole or something shit like that?
No, he did some crazy shit, yeah,
It was something like that. But Martin Shkreli was
and he
also really
won.
good. I know. And then Kushida and then Takahashi all doing their things. It's probably one of my favorite matches of the night. So I'm giving this a 10. But god damn it, Marty, why'd
Honestly,
you do that?
honestly, bro, Marty was like he had so many fans at one point. Like he probably, I will be honest, with the exception of Kenny and Cody, he was probably the most popular Bullet Club member. So like to tell you the truth, he probably would have been very successful in AEW had he gone over there before all these allegations hit the fan.
Why do you do
It's just
this?
I don't know, man.
Why do you do this?
He really could have he really could have been a world champion. Like I'm actually being serious. Like he really was on a similar trajectory to Osprey in terms of their careers because they both were in the junior heavyweight division in the mid 2010s, and then by the time it hit 2019, both guys were ready to evolve to world titles. But yeah, then the allegations hit for Marty. But then Osprey, he went on to become a world champ. So that clearly shows if you know he never did what he did, he could have very likely been a world champion.
Well, point being, it was a damn good match. I'm gonna separate the wrestler from the artist.
Yeah, that's what we got to do with some people. Chris Benoit, David Starr, those guys are like some of the best examples of just, people who have done horrible things, but you got to, look at the work at sometimes and be like, well,
That was a good match.
shitty people can make some great work. Yeah, shitty people can make some great work. It's a very unfortunate part of reality. And yeah, Marty Scurll was, I guess, one of those people as well. He was a great wrestler who, behind the wrestler, was a shitty person. But yeah, with all that being said, this is a fantastic Fatal 4-Way match, and it is damn close to getting a 10 for me. But I am going to give it a 9.5. Ospreay getting the dub here was the right call, and all four of these men really perform at their near best in this match. Like this is just, and you know how people talk about the four pillars Fatal 4-Way in
Mm-hmm.
AEW this year being the best Fatal 4-Way, or the Backlash 2007 4-Way featuring Cena, Orton, Michaels, and Edge. If anything, I think this Fatal 4-Way is better than both of those Fatal 4-Ways. But that's just a matter of opinion. Overall, 9.5 out of 10.
Yeah, this was very fun. I would say to me this is my favorite match of the night completely. I had a lot of fun. It sucks to me because to me the whole match I was not even thinking about what Martyrs Girl did, and technically that kind of helps just think, oh well, this is actually a very amazing match. Then at the end of the match, I'm like, oh wait, well he's still a bad guy. And before we started recording, I said he is a goat, but he is a bad goat. He's the black sheep. He's the black sheep of the goat society. I'm gonna call it, but he is. I still say this match was amazing. I had a lot of fun. Kushida, one of those characters I would love. Hiromu Takahashi, who is champion right now, great. It was very fun to watch. Will Ospreay winning was amazing too. Every spot was amazing. I'm gonna give the same thing as Chris because I love the match. 10.
All right. Now we move on to the IWGP Intercontinental Championship match. So, as you guys know, Jay White is Berman's boy. And obviously, this isn't the Jay White we know today. But yeah, Berman, what do you think about Jay White in this beginning stage of his New Japan Pro Wrestling run? And what do you think about this match? I'm going to let you start this off this time.
All right. So first, I really actually did love his entrance was amazing. That first thing, I love the how he kind of felt. I actually like his look right now is probably my favorite look that he has. Like he's very young. He doesn't have a goatee. He doesn't have a beard or anything. He's just very clean shaving. I like how he feels. The match was not that bad. It was technically a squash match, kind of showing Jay White has not matured enough yet. But this is kind of everyone an introduction to the Jay White character, the Switchblade character mainly. So I was actually I love the match. To me, actually, the match was very fun. Actually, it's more squash, but to see how Jay White kind of progressed from here to kind of the ode now to the goat of Bullet Club, pretty much I call it. It's interesting to see, and I would say that it's better when Jay White started becoming when he became he started the Bullet Club. What I not started, but got into the Bullet Club with Gato, which is pretty much the biggest thing right there. But I think the match was not not the best match, not the best Jay White match of the world, but it's still a fun match to see. So I give this a 6.5.
All right. So, yeah, this match was the biggest match of the entire card, as this was, how do I say it? With Jay White, you know how there's like 3 Pokemon evolutions? He was basically on evolution number 1, or evolution number 1, I should say. Like, he hasn't evolved yet. He's not at that Jay White we know just yet. So, yeah, the match was a bit weak, but it wasn't bad. I think it's silly to suggest that this would be a bad match. It was just fine. It was surface level, fine stuff. And overall, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Again, I would kind of call it like a bit of the black mark over Wrestle Kingdom 12 because rest assured, my rating is very high for this show. But if this match didn't happen, chances are that this show could have been given a 10 out of 10 rating. But it is what it is.
Yeah, and again, this is another example of one of the matches I didn't really care for either, because it was just Jay White getting his ass kicked for almost 18 minutes of him like doing nothing. So I'm just gonna give it a 5. Not my favorite, kind of like meh, but it was cool seeing him, where he started or whatever.
Yeah.
It was murder.
So now this next match is for most people at the time. You know how the phrase dream match gets thrown around a lot? Well, in 2018, Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho was a dream match. You had one of the hottest indie wrestlers in the entire world in Kenny Omega facing a guy who hasn't fought outside of a WWE ring in almost 20 years in Chris Jericho. Nobody knew what we were really going to get here. And what we got here was nearly a masterpiece. Every little spot, with the exception of one spot, is absolute perfection in this no DQ match. And this is my personal match of the night. And if you're wondering, what stops this match from being a 10 out of 10? What is the one and only thing? It's when Kenny Omega hits the one-winged angel, and 1, 2, there's a rope break. Except there aren't rope breaks in no DQ matches. And I know it's a very small error, but sadly the error is not small enough for me to ignore it. Again, fantastic match. One of the best matches in Wrestle Kingdom history. But it is not the best. Overall, I'm going to give this a 9.5 out of 10.
Yeah, this match was fun. Yeah, the rope break was a stupid thing, but I still say this was probably the best match of the night. I loved it. It was very fun. The interesting thing, I totally forgot this happened, but the that this match was to the birth of Shota Umino, because in that match a big conflict between when Shota Umino got into the Walls of Jericho. So that was kind of interesting. I totally forgot that it did happen, but actually that was kind of the birth of Shota. But this match was amazing. I had a lot of fun, and everything was crazy. It was a lot of crazy things happened. It was very fun. So I got to give this a 9.5.
And it was also excellent, but I gotta ask the real question here. Why did Chris Jericho attack Kenny Omega's like towel guy? He didn't do anything. He was just doing his job, and he got the walls of Jericho for no reason.
Because Chris felt like being an asshole.
He being a dick for no reason. And then another thing, where's this goddamn Chris Jericho right now? We need that kind of wrestling spirit, because I don't know what happened from here all the way to 2023, but something was lost. So he just
It's
needs to
only
retire.
5 years ago. That's what's crazy to think about. This was only 5 years ago. What happened in 5 years?
Maybe just got too comfortable. I don't know, dude, but I haven't seen this Jericho in a long time except for the Will Ospreay match, but that's pretty much it. That's probably the best example.
Here's what we should definitely say. AEW was created literally the year after this. If this was the Chris Jericho, if we would have gotten this Chris Jericho in AEW, I don't think there'd be a single person on the planet wanting him to retire right now.
I completely true.
Yeah, he slowed down too much, I guess. But it's just wild because it's really only been 5 years.
For 5 years? I don't
He's
know.
just getting older.
Maybe, but maybe just got too comfortable for what he's at right now. He doesn't really have to try anymore.
I mean, that is true. Like, he really doesn't have. He could basically take a dump and probably still find a way to get paid for doing it. Like, the dude is a millionaire. Like, it doesn't matter. He's gonna get paid doing anything on AEW TV. It doesn't matter what it is. But yeah, what would you rate this match?
Definitely another 9.5. Because these last two matches are just so good. It makes the pay per view well worth it. Well, 3, I should say.
Yeah. Now, this main event is one of the most controversial matches in the history of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Now, why did I say that? I think a lot of you already know, but there are some of you that don't. So, for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, Kazuchika Okada versus Tetsuya Naito. So, ironically, it was one Wrestle Kingdom. It was Wrestle Kingdom 8, where Naito had a heavyweight championship match. And the issue was, though, was whenever you win the G1, you're usually guaranteed the main event of Wrestle Kingdom. Except this time, for some odd reason, there was a fan vote between the World Heavyweight match and the IC match. And to a huge shock, fans chose the IC match to main event by a huge amount. And this pissed Naito off so much that he basically became a darker, vengeful heel very, very shortly after this. And he had to go on a whole redemption story. And he even won the G1 again. This time defeating Okada's most recent rival, Kenny Omega. So everyone pretty much figured Okada's been champ for over 500 days. This is it. This is the night Okada loses that belt because everything makes sense. This is Naito's story. It all makes sense for it to happen right here. But then it didn't. This is literally Roman versus Cody, but New Japan Pro Wrestling. So when Okada won, fans were pissed. And so pissed, in fact, that there was a good portion of the online fan base at the time that completely turned their back on Okada. Like, this match kind of put a lot of negative attention to Okada, more than any match in history ever has. And I understand it. I genuinely understand it. Looking back at this might still be, to this day, as fantastic of a match as it was, it still might be one of New Japan Pro Wrestling's biggest booking fumbles of all time. But you know what's crazy about it? The show is so good, and the performances by everyone involved were so good that it's been kind of forgiven. And then if you knew what has happened in the rest of the Okada versus Naito story, thankfully we did get that happy ending. But I remember, at the time, people were not happy about this one bit. And I don't blame them. But yeah, fantastic match. And knowing everything that did happen in the future, I still don't know. I don't know if it was the right decision to have the belt kept on Okada. I don't know. But what matters is this was a fantastic match. So overall, I'm giving it a 9.5 out of 10.
Yeah, this is an easy. This was a great match. It was the controversy was a pain in the ass. I don't. It was pain. It sucks because Naito should have won it. But I hope soon that Naito will win that title against Sonata at the next pay per view for the Naito and Sonata for that title. That's gonna be interesting. But this was gonna be one of the best. This is probably a great. This is a great match. The second best match, but the ending sucked. The ending sucked that the Naito didn't win. But still, nonetheless, great match. There's nothing else I can say. That's gonna be a 9.5 out of 10.
I think the one thing that kind of pissed me off about the match was just for the fact that Naito like clearly kicked out of a moneymaker towards the end, and I was like, oh no way, Naito's actually gonna get this in the bag for just for Okada to hit again and pretty much demolishes Naito's thing. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Okada kicked out of Naito's finisher like multiple times throughout the
No,
match.
he literally kicked out of it like 3 times. Remember when Roman kicked out of the Crossroads like 4 or 5 times? This match is literally just a better version of Roman versus Cody. I'm not even kidding.
It's just those little things that kind of ruin the match, but it's not to take away from the excellent, overall the quality of the match. It's just those little things kind of piss me off, and I get it. Okada was doing his thing, but Naito wasn't like necessarily like a mid card or anything like that. He was, he was big at the time, so I don't know why they went with the decision of Okada. It should have been Naito, but they've had other matches, so it's like whatever. But excellent, 9.5.
I will say this. You remember the 2018 match, like the critically acclaimed 2 out of 3 falls between Okada and Omega?
Yup.
Omega was the guy who eventually beat Okada. And obviously everyone loved that when that happened. But even then, it's still like, to think about it. Was Naito screwed? Should that have been his moment? Or with everything playing out and Kenny ended up beating Okada, was that just the better way to go about things? And then Naito, of course, he ended up getting his revenge in Okada later on. And we saw that happen again this year at the G1. He beat him in the finals of the G1. So it's a whole huge story, really, between Okada and Naito. It really is.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna take away from the overall. It was excellent, but again, just Danny kind of put a wrong feeling on my face because it's like, why?
Like Naito should have
Why?
won. Yeah.
You can't
Nah.
overbook people like that. It's stupid. That's how you get
No,
money,
yeah.
brains.
No, yeah. Like, it is why you see Okada be called the John Cena, Roman Reigns of New Japan Pro Wrestling. I think you get why now.
Yeah, I get it.
I mean, is he the right guy to fit that role? Probably. I'm not going to say he's not. But yeah, like that oversaturation can get very annoying sometimes. And people were feeling it by this point. They definitely were.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's all we have to say about New Japan Pro Wrestling, Wrestle Kingdom 12. I thought this was an awesome show. And overall, despite a few booking hiccups and one match that could have been removed off the card, this was an excellent show. And I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I give the same thing 9 out of 10. The best Wrestle Kingdom.
And I'll have to give it 8.5 just for the fact of those 3 matches I kind of thought were average, but not to take away the pay per view. I really enjoyed it.
Fair enough. So, thank you all so much for watching. I've been Daniel.
I've been Berman.
And I've been Chris.
And we'll see you all in the next one. Take it easy.